Yeah, and he just sort of swung his leg out there, but it landed perfect.
Yeah, it was.
And then Mitrione stopped him again. I was so bummed out about yesterday about the Fedor fight not happening. That was such a bummer, man. Yeah. They pulled Mitrione the day of the fight with a kidney stone. Like, what? The day of the fight.
Yeah.
And apparently they offered it to Czech Congo, and he said he would do it. But Fedor said no. And they offered it to the other guy that Czech Congo fought. And Fedor was like, nope, I'm going to wait for Mitrione. And they're just going to run it back.
Russians are so weird.
Well,
That's
I mean,
so interesting. Wow. But I guess.
Free money.
Yeah.
Do you think he gets paid? That was your point.
Yeah.
You're like,
It's free money.
yeah.
I get what I get at that.
He
that
trained.
Point, yeah.
I mean, he already trained. There had to be some sort of a clause.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. This is just a crazy fight, man. I mean, this is as close to getting stopped as anybody has ever gotten to come back and win by ferocious knockout.
Yeah.
I mean, this is right up there with Czech Congo versus Pat Barry, except Congo did it with one shot. Oh, this is nuts.
Wow.
Boom, 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 boom. See,
He just throws heat on everything.
Oh.
see, yeah. See, two completely, at the very least, two
Yeah.
completely unnecessary shots.
He could have stopped it a lot earlier than that.
But they also could edit it out, too, and they keep showing it.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking earlier about one day someone having all the techniques. Those kids are out there right now, I think. I think if you started training MMA when you were like, 12 years old, and now you're 20,
Oh, guess who's at Ruka now? Fucking
Who?
Aaron Pico.
Oh, yeah, there's a perfect example.
That kid's a
Perfect
fucking
example.
stud, and I haven't worked with him yet because I've been in training camp. But watching him move around, he's fucking 20, I think.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he's 20 yet.
Freak wrestler.
Yeah, Olympic level wrestler. Fucking
Freak striker.
Yeah, good boxing. And
Yeah.
it's like that's the fucking future.
How's his kicks?
I haven't seen much of it.
But that's one of those things. It's like I was super excited to see Fedor this weekend. Super excited to see Fedor because I'm always wondering, like, when does a guy like that, like, how much does he still have? Like, how much is that? How much he takes all this time off? He comes back. Is he going to come back just like super pumped up to fight? Like, is Fedor going to come back as this, this version of who he used to be, or are we going to see the Fedor versus Maldonado that didn't look so good?
The pictures of him with his shirt off and stuff, he didn't look all that fit.
Well, he never looked all that fit.
But I'm saying worse than usual.
Well, one thing that I saw when I saw the picture of the weigh-in, I noticed that it looked to me like his shoulders were pretty full. This sounds so gay. I should probably stop saying it. He looked strong to me is what I was getting to. Fedor always carried a certain amount of body fat, never hurt him. He's never ripped, and he was the scariest guy alive for a while. Do you think he's the greatest heavyweight of all time? I kind of feel like you almost have to give it to him.
Yeah, for that era, because it was, as someone that, I mean, literally I've watched the sport my entire life. Like this is the one thing I've looked to. He was. Because at that time, but I mean, since then there hasn't been a heavyweight that struck fear into the people like
right.
he did. Maybe Cain Velasquez a little bit, but no one really cared.
Well,
for some reason, even though he was frightening.
Cain just kept getting injured, unfortunately. Yeah. But when he was at his best, he was as horrific
so
as they
scary.
get.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's disrespectful to Fabricio Verdum. Like, realistically, if we're looking at it in terms of accomplishments, you have to really consider, like, when did Verdum catch him? Like, are we completely disregarding how good Fedor was up until the time Verdum caught him? Are we not giving Verdum the credit he deserves? Because Fabricio Verdum has tapped out 3 of the greatest of all time. Tapped out Nogueira, tapped out Fedor, and tapped out Cain. So it's hard, but then he loses to Stipe. He gets knocked out by Stipe. So then you want to, like, reestablish or reevaluate.
Now he's fighting Dos Anjos?
Yeah, Dos Anjos. He's going to fight Dos Anjos. Okay. Yeah.
Exactly. So he's beat all the best people. So I don't
know.
No,
Fabricio's not fighting Dos Anjos. Stipe is fighting Dos Anjos.
Oh.
Dos Santos or Dos Anjos?
Dos Santos. Did I say Dos Anjos?
Yeah.
Yes.
No, Junior Dos Santos.
Yes.
Sorry.
He's fighting.
Yeah, he's fighting Stipe.
Okay.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's going to be another good fight. Remember that first fight? That first fight was super close, but it was a crazy war.
They beat the hell out of each other.
Oh, it was awful.
Oh.
Woo. See, Johnny Hendricks looks, to me, way better here at 185 Then he looked at 170 his last 2 fights. Oh, he just clipped him with a right hand.
Pretty slick for a fat boy.
Dude, he looks good.
Damn.
He looks good.
He does.
He looks
light
durable.
on his feet.
He's light on his feet. He looks fit. He looks durable. He just looks healthier. I mean, he maybe not look ripped, but the way he's performing looks better. Like he's able to take it. Look at that. See, he's still throwing bombs, man.
His reaction time looks better.
He looks better. He looks better at 85. Dude, same thing I say about Calvin. You look at the Calvin that fought Tyron Woodley, the Calvin that didn't make weight, and Calvin looked tired. He just didn't look the same. Then you look at the Calvin that fought Tim. The one that fought Tim Kennedy was a fucking world beater, man. Kelvin Gastelum at 185 is a goddamn world beater.
Hell yeah.
He looks amazing. I mean, his grappling defense was incredible, and then he was light on his feet, and his hands were flowing. His chin is iron. I mean, at 185, that guy's fucking healthy. Yeah. And when he's healthy, you get to see the real guy. The real guy is super talented. Yeah. But we've been seeing the real guy that's smothered by weight cuts, like real hard weight cuts. And they just take too much out of his body. And I think you're seeing the same goddamn thing here right now. I mean, he might still lose his fight. Hector Lombard's still a fucking beast, right? But this is, to me, like the best Hendricks we've seen in a couple of years. I mean, and this is like a competitive fight.
Yeah, he looks good.
Good left hand over the top.
He's actually moving his head.
He's also, I think he's banking on the slowdown. Because the slowdown with Lombard, especially if he thinks he's got you hurt, is a real deal. Like with Neil Magny. Neil Magny managed to survive a hellacious storm. Do you remember that?
Yep.
Hellacious. He survived, and then Neil Magny eventually won by TKO. He got on top of him, he was beating him down, and Lombard just didn't have anything left to defend himself.
That was the second round, wasn't it? Or the third round?
I know
he almost finished him at the end of one of the rounds.
Yeah.
And then he ended up finishing him after that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was the third round that he finished him. And it was just a crazy war. What's going on?
They're breaking him up.
Warning. Grabbing the fence. So we're in the second round. Second round, what's the time? Did they have the time back up? What do we got? A minute left? Lombard's slowing down, for sure. It just seems like some of those guys that have cardio problems, a lot of it is related to the actual style that they fight in, too. Ooh, knee and a punch. The style of Lombard is like so sprint-oriented. And when he has to adjust that style and then become like a technical-oriented fighter, it's just not the same thing. Like, you're always on your heels in that first round. And your first round, you're always getting away from this just super athlete coming at you, just swinging, throwing lead, right? But then in the second round, you get a regular fighter.
Yeah.
And this is what you're seeing now. You're seeing Lombard's skills, which are still substantial, but you're not seeing any evidence of that freak athleticism anymore. Now he's fallen into a rhythm. See, like that.
Flat-footed.
Yeah. So, but see how he's throwing that kick? Like that's kick's landing and he's throwing it, but he's not trying to murder you with that kick, you know?
Yeah. Same with that punch.
Same with that punch. It changes. It all changes in that second round, which is really interesting.
Hendricks keeps coming in with that knee.
Mm-hmm. It's getting closer.
Look at this. Dude, Lombard's going back to his corner, and he looks very tired, and Hendricks looks pumped up. Fascinating. I had thought coming into this fight that this would be a fight where, you know, Johnny Hendricks is in a scary match with one of the most fearsome KO artists in the sport. I mean, you look at especially his Bellator highlight reels. Look at that knee. That was a beautiful knee by Hendricks. You look at his Bellator highlight reel back when he was murking people over there. Like, oh, my God.
Everyone was afraid of him.
Oh, my God.
He was huge.
He was huge. And he came over here, struggled a little bit at first, lost to Tim Boesch. Remember that fight?
In a boring
Wasn't
fight.
a good fight for him. Just didn't open up. But the Henderson one, the last one, was the scariest loss. Because he got rocked by Henderson in the first, then Henderson rocked him, took him down, held him down, was beating him up on the ground. And then they had that crazy exchange where Henderson caught him with an elbow to the head and dropped him.
Yeah, off a single leg.
Yeah, dude. And you remember when his Instagram post? He had an American flag wrapped around him. He said, "I smoked that Cuban." That's so rude.
But it's acceptable because it's Dan Henderson. No?
It's Dan Henderson. He can get away. Oh, he clipped him with that right over the top. But look at this. Hendricks takes it. Look. Looks good. Still light on his feet. Still moving. And not Lombard. Lombard totally flat-footed. And the more Hendricks does this to him and feints him and gets him to react and move, the more it keeps Lombard from recovering.
So it's a round apiece, right?
Boy, I don't know. I'm not a good scorer.
There's 2 rounds. The first one.
Yeah, I'd say around a piece.
Yeah.
Johnny's looking better right now than he did last round.
Could you give the last round to Lombard? Was it possible?
I thought you were giving the last round to Hendricks because you were talking him up.
I'm asking, could you? Is it possible?
I don't think so.
So the last round you feel pretty clearly went to Hendricks?
Yeah.
The first round you think went to Lombard?
Yeah. Not by much.
I've been mostly talking shit. Interesting. Lombard throws what you would call short kicks.
Because of short legs.
Yeah, but some guys that have short legs can extend.